This podcast is brought to you by The Shift.
It's story time.
Hello and welcome to the Storytime Podcast. And my name is Claire, Clisare on the internet. And this week I have with me Michael Fry.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome to Storytime with me, Michael Story. Just got that out of the way. It's my gimmick. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So Michael Fry is not your real name, isn't it?
No.
Or that was a joke.
No, Michael Fry isn't actually my real name. I have a different name that I use for
but
civilian
it's
purposes.
not Michael Story though.
No, oh God, no.
I was like,
just change it every week. Yeah.
What a perfect surname. Okay. So, can you tell everyone where to find you on the internet before we get into your story?
Yeah, you can find me at Big Dirty Fry on pretty much all platforms. I managed to get the username on pretty much everything. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook if you use it, and then Snapchat, but I don't go on Snapchat that much. So
neither do I anymore now, I must say.
It's sad, isn't it?
Okay, so I'll put the links in the description on YouTube and in the show notes and the audio platforms. We're on YouTube and all the good audio platforms. And I'll put all your links down in the description. So, come here, what story have you for me today?
My story involves me going to France to do some volunteer farming. So we had a hashtag going at the time of this called the Grape escape, and I'll explain to you why towards the end of the story. But it's baby's first time abroad with his friends doesn't go very well is basically the gist of it. So
yes, go for it. I'm excited to hear it.
So I did French in college, and me and three of my friends decided, right, we need to spend some time in another country, or in a French-speaking country, because none of us were going to do Erasmus. So we came across this thing called volunteer farming. I think it's woofing. There's a program in TGCAR about it ages ago, but it's worldwide organic farming or whatever. So the idea for us was to go over there, help some farmers out, learn a bit of French, and just have a nice time in the south of France. So we found this couple, and they ran a vineyard, and we were like, okay, cool, this sounds great. They have a pool, and we were kind of bragging to everyone else because we were like, oh, our guys have a pool, because lots of the other guys in my course are doing it. And so we set off, and we arrived in Paris first. And I'm not a huge fan of Paris. I think Paris is a little bit gross, if I'm very honest. I'm kind of I think for everybody who kind of talks about Paris as a city of culture and all this kind of stuff, I'm just kind of there being what are you talking about? It smells of piss, as in there's just piss everywhere. And if you go down the subway, there's I remember going through the metro and stuff like that, and the metro is kind of, it's like the tube, only if the tube was 50 years older and on its last legs, that kind of vibe. And I remember going through the subway, and there's just a wall of a river of piss going down the wall, and I was like, this isn't the Paris that I thought it was going to be, so we did some touristy stuff. We did the Eiffel Tower and that, and we booked into this hotel or hostel for the first night, because we went on a night in Paris before we went down the south. And we woke up, and the first day one of my friends was in we're in two double beds, there's four of us, and we heard one of the guys being oh my god, fuck, oh my god, fuck, first thing in the morning. And one of the guys was having a fit, an epileptic fit, shaking and it was just really, really terrifying. So, because I'd seen Casualty before, I had decided, right, get him on his side, and I'd no plan after that. So that's all we did. We were just watching him shake, being what the fuck do we do? Everyone kind of being what the fuck? So, he kind of eventually woke up and didn't remember anything, right? And this is the first time he was abroad with us. And he went to the bathroom. We were don't lock the door. And he was why? As in, did not know he'd had a fit. We were just concerned that he'd pass out again. And he was just no, it was my first time away, and you guys are telling me don't lock the door, and I just spent the night. It was just really weird. So we called for a doctor, and it took him ages to come. And he was just a dick. He was kind of my friend, we were just explaining to him what happened. And he was just it's the flu. And we're no, it's not the flu. He had a fit. He was it's the French flu. And we're that's not a fucking thing, man. Come on. So prescribed him with painkillers and a bottle of Coke or something. Just I don't know where the fuck they got this doctor from. But so we continued our journey anyway. And we got to this place called Montpellier, which is a city in the south of France. It's lovely. It's very, very nice. And the guy picked us up, and turns out he was English. And I don't know why we didn't ask this question before. Like, he wasn't French. So he brought us to the vineyard. And his wife was American, and his parents were, I think, South African or English or whatever. But nobody spoke French on the whole thing. And we're like, okay, well, fine. Well, at least we'll spend the time here, and we'll learn how to be vineyard, I don't know, wine farmers? I don't know what you call them. Vintners. So we kind of were like, okay, cool. So our job for the day was to, like, put wires, like, move one wire from one place to the next. Like, just kind of like this all day in the field. And it was kind of okay, but your man, turns out, was an absolute dickhead and was just, like, really, really furious with us anytime we did anything that we did, like, not anything wrong, but, like, stuff we just didn't know what to do. He got really upset. So, like, he was just like, if you see a broken wire, fix it. And we're like, how do we do that? And he's like, what do you mean, how do you do that? We're like, we don't know. We haven't been here before. I've never been in a vineyard before. Never mind fixed a wine wire or whatever you call it. Like, so, yeah, it just transpired this guy was an absolute fucking lunatic, and it just seemed like they had really grim, like, financial problems in the vineyard and stuff like that, and we're using woofers as, like, free labour. So we'd eat with them and stuff, and, like, it was just, I think we're only there like 3 days. It felt like an absolute lifetime though, because it was just kind of really tense. Like, his wife was called Kim, and I remember one time she was talking about, she went in this really weird rant about tannins in foods and how they cause cancer or whatever, and we're like, okay, right. And then she was talking about some music festival in the town, and she said the wrong date. And he was like, it's not that date. And she's like, I think it might be. And he just goes, shut up, Kim. Shut up. Like, pointing at her, like, standing up across the table. We're like, oh my fucking God, what the fuck? Like, so we're just sitting there being like, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, so we all rang our parents being like, what do we do? And our parents were like, just get out of there. What the fuck are you staying there for? We're like, okay. So, there was a day where we were supposed to bottle the wine, right? And it would have taken us hours and hours and hours and hours. And it was, we had to get up earlier, all that kind of stuff. But he'd prepared like a boar or something, because there was boars in the vineyard that he'd killed one, and he was going to have a feast with this boar when he bottled all the wine. So we're like, okay. So he was like, I need you up at like 7. We need you to, like, it's going to be a really long day, like, just prepare to be tired, all that kind of stuff. And we're like, okay, cool. So we wrote them a note, got up at 5 and escaped, essentially. So
what did the note say? Like, bye.
It was literally like, I think we were actually quite fair in the note. We were just like, we just don't feel going for this. Is fucked. Like, this whole situation is so bizarre, as in, like, we felt like, I don't know if we'd done the proper research ourselves in the first place, but definitely felt like we'd kind of been lured there, or we just kind of were like, why the fuck have you got people in the vineyard? Like, if you're not going to be nice to them, and it's not going to be like, it was just a really weird experience.
Yeah. And so, sorry, just to clarify, you guys are working for free here. Like, you're getting your food, but you're working for free. Yeah. So, like, don't be a dick. People working for free.
That was pretty much it. Like, so, like, it was just kind of like, well, why have you hired us to do this? Or you haven't even hired us. Like, it was so weird. But yeah, we wrote a note being like, look, this is ridiculous. We're getting out of here. And the nearest bus, I think it was like a 45-minute walk away. It was fucking insane. And we'd all our shit with us, and it was like first thing in the morning, and we were so afraid we'd wake someone up.
Yeah, were they like carry bags or roll bags? Because roll bags are loud enough.
I had a stupidly large roll bag that I brought with me, and all my friends had like rucksacks, and I'd like completely overpacked for this thing because I thought we were going to be there for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. So yeah, going through the vineyard, everyone taking turns carrying my stupidly large bag, encountering the odd wild boar, which was kind of weird and scary as well at the same time, like at dawn. So going through all the vineyards and stuff like that, just trying to be really, really quiet. And one of my friends was live tweeting this whole thing with the hashtag Grape Escape, being like, we're getting out of here, guys. Like, so we looked at the bus timetable, and there was one, luckily enough, like going from the nearest village to Montpellier, and we managed to get on that. It was great. Like, so we got to Montpellier, and we're outside McDonald's, and suddenly we get a call, and it's the woman, and we're looking at the phone being like, do we answer it? no. So we just like, so which is probably maybe a bit immature, but like we're kind of like, what's going to come out of this situation here? Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, she left a really grim voicemail being like, you're childish, you're all this sort of stuff. And they sent us kind of like this email being like, well, you're easily replaced and all this kind of real salty, like as if that would hurt us. It's like, well, cool then, grand. There
So
was no
what's the
consequences
issue
to what
then?
we did, like, you know. So yeah, we just at that point, like all of us were like, right, fuck this. So we just flew home, like, you know, and it just cut things short.
Oh, you didn't
I think
even
we already-
find somewhere else. I thought, oh.
No, I think we're all running out of money, and it was just like too hard to do it with no prep, if you know what I mean. So it was just like, I think we're all just kind of like, do you know what? Let's just cut our losses here because this has been a fucking disaster. So yeah, so we flew home, and that was the end of my first French adventure. But I had a very similar experience then years later. So because I was doing French, it was this thing of I constantly needed to improve my speaking and all that kind of stuff. The only way you do that is to go to France or to go somewhere like that. So I signed up to a language school in the same city, and I got this woman who was like, she'd advertised as a family, right? And it was herself and her 3 sons, but I got there, it was just her, and I don't think her sons spoke to her, so she was a really bad relationship with them. And it turns out she was just a bit nuts, and she had this traumatized kind of rescue dog that used to just go crazy every time we left the house, who she used to allow like lick her legs in a really, like, just for too long, and it was really uncomfortable. But so I'd spent like two weeks with this woman, and literally the same thing happened where I was like, I need to get out of this woman's house, I need to go, like, because there was I had to tell the school and be like, I'm really uncomfortable with this woman because she's fucking insane, like, and used to just like give out to me for leaving stuff, like, not like I wasn't wasteful with stuff, but like, you know, like leaving the odd light on or like that kind of thing. She'd just go crazy because she was in like serious kind of financial straits, and she was using this host family stuff to pay herself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the school were like, we don't even pay her that much money, like, I don't know what the fuck she's relying on this for, but yeah, like, she had a side business as a sexologist, which was really weird because I came in one day and she was like, I've got a client, can you stay in your room? And I was like, okay. So sat in the room and I was like, right, that's fair enough, that's her business, like, that's obviously a need people have to see these kinds of people. And we then sat down for dinner with her mate, and she literally just proceeded to tell her friend everything that was wrong with this guy. And she's like, oh, his problems with prostate, and I was just like, this is so uncomfortable, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
What's a sexologist? Is that like a therapist but for sex?
yeah. Yeah. So that was her whole deal. So,
Yeah. Immediately goes and tells people. John was just
It's
in to
just
be
like-
there. He can't get it up.
oh, that was pretty much it. Like, yeah, she's like, oh, problems with his prostate, you know, like. So yeah, was staying with her for a little while, and I was like, do you know what? Fuck this, I can't do this again. So did the same thing, packed all my bags, went in the middle of the day because I knew she was a teacher by day, and I knew she wasn't going to be in the flat. So I went back to the flat, packed all my stuff, and was leaving. And yeah, said goodbye to the dog, who went crazy as soon as I left, and yeah, got onto like their version of the Lewis, like their tram. And as I was getting on, I saw her coming around the corner, and I was like, oh fuck, right? And I was sitting on the thing, and I was quite visible on the train as well, like it's all glass, like, so she's coming around, and then just as she was kind of like, I think she kind of went like this, and then the train sort of took off. So I was like, oh, thank fuck. But again, she called the school being like, what the fuck? Like, so so both of my experiences in France led to me just upping sticks
Fleeing
and going
the country.
Yeah, I don't think I was back once for, I did Lollapalooza in Paris there a little while ago, and that was good because I didn't have to escape. So I don't know if my experience of France has been net positive or not. It's been really weird. So
Yeah, the only time I've been to France a couple of times, just on holidays, so I've never had an experience like that. But I did live in Australia for a bit, and I chose not to do the like farming for 3 months to stay for a second year. I was like, I'm not able for it. I'm not going to be able for it. No way. Picking strawberries it is over there, and I was like, no. Just go home, it's fine.
So there's friends of mine who did it and had the best time ever, you know, and learned loads of French or whatever. And then other friends who would be posting in the French group, like Facebook group, being like, guys, I'm in the middle of Corsica and I've just escaped this fucking mental family. Is there anybody around? Like that kind of way. So, like it's very hit and miss, and I'd be very, very hesitant to do it again, I think, unless, you know, I actually was certain I wasn't going to be abused in any way, like, you know. Because people said to me before I went, they were like, oh, it's going to be like Bart Simpson when he goes to the vineyard and, you know, is treated really horribly. And it's like, no, it's not going to be like that. And then I came back and I was like, no, it was exactly like that, actually. So...
Yeah, for some reason it just reminded me there of, like, you know, the gale tugs. You know the way, like, sometimes you'd get an absolutely mad Balanchi and it would make totally changed experience. I remember we had one year, like, we used to always get out on the last night and escape, like, to go to the beach or whatever, to get the shift. And one year we didn't get out because she was sitting in the sitting room, like, between us and the front door with a massive knife.
Oh my God.
And we were just like, yeah, we're not even going to try.
Yeah.
Like, huge big carving knife. Like, what was she going to do? She's already going to stab us with it. But it worked. We were so afraid. We were like, oh,
oh my God.
Yeah. Did you learn any French, though?
I think I did a little bit. I think I had a dream in French when I was there, and I was like, okay, I guess that's success. You know, it's just kind of... Yeah, you do. If you spend enough time with French people, you do pick it up, I suppose. Like,
yeah. And when she was roaring at you in French about the lights and stuff, were you like, at the start, what is she roaring about?
My French is pretty good at that point, so I was kind of able to communicate with her to an extent. And then there was some times where I didn't know what was going on, and she just refused to explain anything. So one time we went to the beach, and I think she said something like, will you get lunch? Or there's some sort of like complicated thing where I had to pack lunch to go to the beach, or whatever, and I just didn't get it at all. I didn't understand her, and she didn't check if I understood, so I just ended up at the beach. She was like, well, you've no food now, because she didn't. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, like, I don't speak French, for fuck's sake, like, you know. Like,
oh God.
So it's just, oh my God, like, just completely unhelpful, like the opposite to what you think you're going to get a host family like. It was like I was promised a family with kids my age, and I got this woman who, like, just had bad relationships with literally everybody. So, like, I don't know.
And if people were to look up the Grape escape on Twitter, are they still there?
I don't think they are. I think we've all since deleted those accounts we had in first year college. But, like, yeah, I really wish I'd kept it for posterity, like, you know.
Would have been good. I don't even know, did Twitter even have pictures at that point?
I think it probably did. It would have been like 2013, I would say.
Definitely didn't have video.
So, no, definitely not. Yeah, but there were people, like, up at that time, people who'd done J1s and stuff like that, who were following this hashtag, being like, "This is class." Like, you know, so.
Oh, that's really good. Both of those are actually really good stories. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Remind everyone again where to find you on the internet.
You can find me at Big Dirty Fry on Twitter and Instagram.
And do you want to do a quick explainer of what you do on the internet for people who may not know?
Yeah, so I think I can describe myself as a satirical comedian now. I think that's probably what I do. So a lot of it is kind of radio based. So I pretend to have a radio show, and I will, you know, choose guests and stuff like that. I also do some impressions. So I do Aidan Gillen, I do an Irish mammy, I do Michael D. Higgins sometimes. So I kind of like keep a broad kind of thing, but like general kind of just sketch comedy and absolute stupidity is what I do. So yeah,
it's very, very good. And then you're also sometimes on the Try channel with myself, and that's how we met.
That's yeah. I think it was kind of, that first one was kind of really nerve-wracking for me, I think.
Was it?
So I don't think I came across that well, because, like, I think because you're very high energy and I'm very much like waiting to see what happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the trick is to have a full, like, whatever your preferred energy drink of choice, have a full one immediately before the shoot. That's my trick. So I neck a Red Bull right before the shoot, so I'm like up here.
Because we were watching American football and you're like, yes, like screaming beside me. It's like, what is happening? Like,
I also really enjoy American football, so the two things together, I'd say I was very in your face all right that day. Right, well, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Please subscribe to the Storytime YouTube channel. Thanks to the patrons that made the podcast coming back possible. And follow us on your preferred audio platform. Follow Michael Fry on the internet. Links are down in the description. Thank you so much, Michael. And
thanks, guys. Cheers.
See you guys
Thanks for
in the
having me
next
on.
one. Slán.
This podcast was brought to you by The Shift. For more like this, check out theshift.ie.